faith-guided decisions making in uncertainty. So faith-guided decision making in uncertainty refers to the process of making choices during unclear, risky, or unpredictable situations by relying on wisdom and divine guidance. So keep those two words in mind, wisdom and divine guidance. And I don't know which part of your life you are in. Perhaps you are in a part of your life where you are uncertain, you are unsure of anything. It could be regarding relationships, it could be regarding your work, it could be regarding crisis in life. Like I said, one thing is financial pressure for a lot of people. The Strait of Hormuz is where 20% of the oil in the world passes through because of the Gulf states, the Saudi Arabia, the Omans, UAE, Qatar, and the rest. Because of the current war, that that part is that route where ships carry crude oil from these states is being blocked. And because of that, prices have increased. So I'm sure in whichever country you are, not in whichever country you are, but in most countries, if you check that the price of your petrol or your gasoline or your petroleum motor spirit, whatever it's called, or your diesel has increased. And when that in crude oil is what powers transportation on the road, crude oil is what powers transportation in the sky, jet fuel. Crude oil is what powers transportation that ships use. So when transport increases, then food products, logistics increase. It means that your car, your food, everything, inflation triggers and everything increases. So that alone creates uncertainty for people. That alone creates financial difficulties for people as against every other uncertainty that we may not even know about. So I really hope that you will find this webinar useful. Now, I want to just tell you something that will help you a lot is that not all decisions are wrong or right because a wrong or right decision is easier to understand. For instance, should I steal? That's not a difficult decision, right? Because I know stealing is morally wrong. So I can say, to make a decision whether I should steal or not, it's easier for me to say no. Or should I kill innocently? I would easily say no, because that is a moral decision. But the more difficult decisions to make are whether they are right or left decisions. You can see those signs. You get to the part of the road and you see a sign, keep right. You see a sign, keep left. Now they will take you to two different destinations. Both of them may be acceptable. So these are decisions that are more difficult, where they are left or right, or where you are not sure. Where do I go? I have two job offers. Or you are a lady, I have two men asking my hand in marriage. What do I do? So we hope that this will help you. Now, I want to first of all share that there are things that will hinder your good decisions. And until you remove these things, every other thing I will say to you in this webinar will not make sense. Because these things are inhibitors. They will block you from making a good decision. They are not written in any order of priority. They are just written there as a list. So all of them or any of them are equally as bad. So I'm not ranking them. So fear. When a decision is made in panic, is made in fear, it will most likely be a wrong decision. Do not make a decision out of fear. Fear will most likely make you make a very wrong decision because fear is not of God. Faith is of God. Fear is of the enemy. So you need to be extremely careful that even if fear means false evidence appearing real, even if what is appearing to you looks very frightful, don't react. That's the first thing. Greed. And that's why Ponzi schemes strive. People tell you that, oh, you can triple your money, you can quadruple your money. Greed is another big problem. Do not make a decision out of the desire for money that cannot be explained. There is no economics that makes you double money that is not most likely gambling or most likely illegal. Most things that are genuine will grow gradually. But any scheme that tells you that you can double or triple money, most likely it is not genuine, it is false. But human greed triggers you to try it because of the returns are so good, too good to be true. Shame, don't make a decision out of shame because you have been slighted, because you are in a place that you don't want to be. Pride, and this for me, I think is the most, it is, will I say it is the master of all evil? Pride. Don't make a decision out of ego, out of pride, out of self, because pride, for me, in my own ranking, if I want to rank them, I say I won't rank them. But if I want to rank them, I think pride is number one. But they're all evil. Pride. Don't make a decision when you are angry. That one, we all hear that because you will definitely make a wrong decision. You are reactive. And many times you cannot take that decision back. There are cases where neighbors are fighting or spouses are fighting in anger, and somebody takes a knife and stabs and kills the other person. And this person is a very calm person, but in the rage of anger, the person killed another person. And the problem is that you cannot reverse it. You can't say, okay, I'm no longer angry now. I want that person to come back to life. Over excitement. Now, this one seems positive, but it's also dangerous. When you are overexcited, when you are too happy. Now, I didn't say when you are excited. You can make decisions in excitement. But when you are overexcited, remember a story of King Herod. Please, let's mute our mics if we're not speaking. The story of King Herod in scripture. Herod's daughter danced and he was overexcited. And he says, you know what? Ask me for anything you want, including maybe a third of my kingdom, and I'll give it to you. I don't know, a third or half, I don't know, a percentage of my kingdom. And she says, give me the head of John the Baptist. He could not take back his words. He was overexcited. So when you are overexcited, you would also most likely make a wrong decision. So we need to lay this as a foundation so that you are careful about these negative emotions that would most likely hinder good decisions. Now, I want you to watch this video as I show you in this short 2 minutes clip how a good decision was being made. And we're going to talk about it. So here we go.
A long, long time ago, in a beautiful kingdom, there was a very wise king named Solomon. Everyone in the land knew how smart he was. One day, two women came rushing into the palace, crying and arguing. The first woman said crying,
"Oh, king, this woman and I live in the same house. I had a baby boy, and 3 days later, she had a baby too. But something terrible happened. Her baby died in the night. And while I was sleeping, she took my baby and put her baby next to me."
No, that's not true. The living baby is mine and the dead baby is hers.
"No, my baby is alive. Yours is the one who died."
The two women kept arguing and arguing. Everyone in the court watched in shock. Then, King Solomon raised his hand and said calmly, "Both of you say the baby is yours. But only one of you is telling the truth. Guards, bring me a sword." A shiny sword is brought into the room. King Solomon said, "Cut the baby in half. That way, both of you will get a piece." The first woman said screaming,
"Please, your majesty, don't hurt my baby. Give him to her instead. Just let him live."
Go ahead, cut him in half. Then neither of us will have him.
King Solomon said, "Stop. Don't harm the baby. This woman," pointing to the first woman, "is the real mother. Only a true mother would rather lose her baby than see him hurt." Everyone in Israel was amazed. They knew that God had given King Solomon great wisdom to make fair and just decisions.
All right. Now, this story is the story of King Solomon, taken from 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 16 to 28. You can go and read it on your own. And you saw how a good decision was taken. Now, there was no DNA. Today, if you want to find the paternity or maternity of a child, you can do a DNA test to see most likely, or I think it's about 99% correct, thereabout, who are the parents. So there was no DNA test. There were no eyewitnesses. How can you decide who is the biological mother or the real mother of a baby when there were no witnesses to who is the mother? Then there is no DNA test who is really this baby's mother. And they are all saying the same thing. The baby is mine, the baby is mine, the baby is mine. Now, that was a difficult decision, a decision that some people would have said it's impossible to find out. But you saw what Solomon did. Solomon was able to decipher, and this is what I want to bring us to this point. Wisdom is the ability to recognize difference. And the person who said this was Dr. Mike Murdoch. Solomon was able to find the difference. So everything was the same. They are both women. They both lay claim to the child. They both said the child is their own. So when you want to decide, what you are looking for is you are looking for the difference in the things you want to decide. That is where the key is. Because the two men who want to marry a lady, they look the same. The two jobs you want to take, they look the same. The two places you want to live or to relocate to, they look the same. So how do you know difference? That is where wisdom is. And that is the key to making right decisions, to be able to find difference. And I'm going to explain to you how you make difference. But how did Solomon, in this case, decide by making difference was that he put in something that would differentiate them. They were all saying the same thing. So it's okay. Let me differentiate them. Let me cut the child into two and share the child into two of them. So two of them, they were saying the same thing, now started to say different things. One says, no, no, don't kill the child. One says, kill the child. So who were saying the same thing now started to say opposite things. It's in the saying of opposite things, Solomon could make a right decision that, oh, I now see the difference. And he knew that no matter what, a real mother will not want to kill her child. And a jealous woman don't mind killing the child because she has lost her own child. So you lose, I lose my own, you lose your own. Both of us lose. And wickedness is in that person's heart. So in that test of cutting the child into two, Solomon was able to know the difference and say, okay, there were no witnesses, there was no DNA, but this is the real mother. And he was correct. Of course, such wisdom is guided by God. It's guided by the wisdom God gives you. But you also can have that wisdom guided by God. That's why I'm saying godly decisions. Because God can give you that ability. Now, let's look at it quickly. How do you do it? First of all, look at what Solomon did. Knowledge. I used to share this during our orientation, but I'm using it again here. Get the facts of the information. Solomon got all the facts. What happened? You must understand the facts before you make a decision. Don't be over spiritual about it. Don't jump into assumptions. Don't jump into conclusions. Get the facts. Know what it is. Solomon asked, what are the facts? And the women said, oh, this is the facts. One gave her own facts, so she was sleeping and her baby was taken. The one said, no, this is my own baby. You understood the facts. That is knowledge. Knowledge is gathering of facts because you will never make a good decision without knowledge. The next thing is understanding. Arrange the facts. Solomon was able to arrange the facts. That, okay, you said your own baby, you slept, stolen from you. You said, no, this is your own baby. And both of you say, this is your own baby. he arranged it. He tried to get meaning. That these are the similar things. Just like we saw in the notebook LM. You see how the AI helped us to arrange information, gives us summary. So you need to understand arranging the facts so that you understand that these two women claiming the problem here is these two women claiming the understanding of the situation is these two women are claiming ownership of one child, which is not possible because two women cannot give birth to one child. Biologically, only one woman can give birth to a child. The same child cannot be given birth to by another woman. Solomon understood the problem. Now, this is the key to making good decisions. Insight, which Solomon did have a revelation and discernment from God. So when you are making a decision, you understand what is the insight. How can you, the deep understanding is in that your decision, you need to differentiate. So two men ask for your hand in marriage. Say, lady, you are not sure. All of them say the same thing. They say they love you. They say they will, they will live their lives for you. You want to differentiate. There is a crisis, and you call and you say, I am in this situation. I need help urgently. Their reaction in that crisis will be different. That is where the insight comes from. Because when everything is peaceful, everybody will say, I love you. But when there is a problem, you will now know, not by measure of their words, but by measure of their actions, who responds better. That is where insight comes from. You have to discern and test the situations because everyone will say the same thing. Or when it is something happened to your parents, it may not even be you. Maybe your parents were in the hospital or your family is in the hospital. I'm not talking about money. Everybody sees love to how much money. No, I'm talking about compassion. Or when there is something that you ask the person a question and the person tells you, oh, I lied to my mom. If somebody will lie to his mom, he will lie to you. If somebody will beat somebody else, he will beat you as a wife. Just using as an example. So you have to test things. The way you test things in the laboratory, scientists, to discern. So Solomon tested those two women. Is in that test he could see the difference. If he didn't test them, two of them will be saying the same thing. So you can only prove insight and difference through testing. Now, I'm not saying to go and manipulate people and test them in manipulating them. No, but testing them in realities. That, oh, so I'm not saying go and create a false problem and create a false problem to test people. No, because even God says, don't test the Lord your God. So don't test people in that way. But I'm saying that when that reality happens, see their reaction. Then, of course, wisdom is after you've gotten the knowledge, the understanding, the insight, you now apply it. So these are things when you are trying to make a decision. Get the facts, arrange the facts, test the facts, have a deep understanding into the differences between, because those things that look the same, they are different. They are different. Let me flip it the other way. A man wants to marry two women. Two women you think they can marry. They all dress well. They all look nice. They all are beautiful women, make their hair and everything. But you can't, and they all claim to also love you. But it is in that test. You bring them to greet your parents. And the reaction, one is homely, one is loving, one embraces, and one is just very, very dismissive. You can now see differences. So there's always a way you can test something. Okay, let's move ahead. Let me not dwell too much on that. So I want to move to some godly tips, and I'm going to take your questions. We're rounding up now. Um, Very soon we're rounding up. So some clear things that will help you make a good decision is that your decision should not be against biblical principles. So I cannot be asking if it's a good decision to go and cheat somebody because I know that unjust skills are an abomination before God. That's a no-brainer. So anything that is clearly against the written word, you know, or like being, you know, being unforgiving, whether I should forgive or I should not forgive. No, it's the no-brainer because I'm told to forgive. In the Lord's Prayer every day, we say the Lord's Prayer, forgive me my trespasses as I forgive those who trespass against me or sin against me. So I'm not going to go, I'm trying to decide whether it's a good idea to forgive people or not. It's already in the written word of God. So the next thing is godly counsel. So people who are spiritual and are wise, try and meet them. We're not saying take what everybody tells you. A counsel is not a command. A counsel is an advice, which you can take some things, test it, look at it, and apply it. You are not compelled to take what somebody counsels. Then something scientific is probabilistic thinking. And what does probabilistic thinking is that take this decision, when you want to take a decision, look at the probabilities or what can happen, what are the different outcomes, what can go wrong, what may not go wrong. Many times people tell you, for instance, come and invest in something. And they just tell you all the good parts about the investment. They don't tell you that this investment can fail. What can go wrong? They won't tell you. They only tell you, oh, you can make this investment, you can get these returns. But they won't tell you that, okay, how about if, for instance, like now, there's a war? Wouldn't that affect my investments? They will say, no, 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 everything is perfect. But it's not perfect. So you need to think of all the probabilities. Then, very important, number 4, you need to think of the future outcome. When you want to take a decision, ask yourself, what is the short and long-term consequence of this my decision? Let's take a man, for instance. So forgive me, I use family because I know we can all relate to that. Let's take you have a man and you are very hard on your son. You scare him, you intimidate him, he fears you so much while he's 7 to 8 to 9 to 10. So he lives in fear of you and you like it. But look at the future outcome. When that boy gets to a stage that he can challenge you, when he's an adult, 18 to 20, he will rebel against you. So when you take that decision of being a very strict father, you may be happy because anything you tell him, the boy is obeying you. But a time will come when you don't have that authority over him, when he can stand as his own man and he will rebel against you and you will lose that son. So when you want to take a decision, don't just look at why am I doing this? Look, what will be the outcome of this thing I will do in time to come? Will I like that outcome? It may be pleasant for me now. I may decide to have a side chick. A side chick, for those of us who don't know, maybe a girlfriend, and I'm married. It will be nice for me. But what happens when my wife finds out? What happens if I have a child outside that marriage? What happens? How? What would that lead to? Divorce? Bringing a child that will come out in a broken home, rebellion, and losing joy in future. So yes, I may enjoy, doing what I want to do now, but what is the consequence of this thing I want to do in future? A good decision, you must think about the future consequences. Because one thing that the enemy does is he blinds your eyes to the future consequences and gives you a picture of only your current satisfaction from that decision, not letting you know that, okay, I'm drinking and I'm smoking. It's fine, no problem. But how about lung cancer? How about diabetes? How about kidney, liver cirrhosis? How about all these diseases that my likelihood of getting them is increased because of my lifestyle? Nobody will tell you that. They only tell you enjoy yourself. Then the final one is inversion thinking. When you want to make a good decision, think of what you have done. If you have failed, Failure is very good. If anybody has failed yet, celebrate it. Because failure is the data point for your success. So when you have failed, is a very good experience because it has told you that if you do the opposite of this failure, you will succeed. That is the greatest advantage of failure. If you did anything and it failed, it means that if you do the opposite of that thing you did, you would succeed. If, for instance, you made an investment and the investment was because family brought it to you, the investment was because the returns were triple in a year's time, the investment was because you didn't need to sign any documents and you failed. It means if you switch it the other way, you will not listen to investment that family brings to you. You look at investment that are objective, not because anybody influenced you. Two, you look at investment that the returns are not fantastic, that are not out of this world. Three, you will look at investments that you will sign documents and have good paperwork. So the same thing you did that failed, if you do the opposite of that thing, which is what's called inversion thinking, you are most likely to succeed in anything in life, because things are binary, usually are dual, like light and darkness. If if there is darkness, it means if I do the opposite of darkness, that gives me light. So these are the ways you can make good decisions. You may need to watch this video again and think about it. So we're rounding up now, and we can take questions, comments, contributions as we round up this webinar. Yes. Any question? And I do hope you apply it to your life, because I can assure you, if you apply these things that you have listened to today, I can assure you they will work for you very well, because they have worked for many people. These things are not, I didn't generate them. They were empirically proven by multiple sources, including my own experience. But it's not about me. It's about things that have worked for people. Okay. Right. So, any contribution, comments before we close? Yes, Neyman, go ahead, please.
Okay, good evening, all. Thank you very much, sir, for this session. I really enjoyed it, and every part of it is something. But I also want to ask a question. What if somebody makes a decision and probably it's about investment, and you made a wrong move and the outcome has been disastrous and it's really affecting you? The person is really affecting the person who made the decision. And do you think there's a way, or what do you advise for such a person to be able to recuperate, to recover from that kind of disaster?
I would say, and I'm not being sarcastic. I would say rejoice, rejoice, because that huge failure can make you extremely successful. All the things, the thing is that many people do not document failure. Failure has to be documented. You have to write it down. You have to study failure. Because if you don't study failure, you have wasted the greatest learning. All that money wasted, let it be the price of the business school you went to. Let us say the best business, let's say, assume the person lost, let's say, $1 million. Let us say that the price of that business school is $1 million. He has learned it. So he must now go and find it. Now, emotionally, remember I told you about emotions, anger, regret, pain, shame. Those are the things that will hinder those decisions. Those things he has learned from that investment, he can be resilient. He can rise again. He has lost a lot, but he can rise again. He should not give up. He should take the opposite of it and see how he can recreate it. Because a lot of people you hear about today, you only hear their success stories. You never hear their failures. You hear Dangote, you hear Thomas Edison. You didn't hear how many I've mentioned it in the class before that the reason the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, started his company is because nobody employed him. He failed. He couldn't find a job. So he had to work for himself because nobody was willing to employ him. And he was sleeping he could not live in a place. He could not rent a house. So he rented an office. So he sleeps in his office because that's what he could rent. Then he will go to, in US, you have places like YCMA, you have places you can go and shower. You go and play for shower. Because these people have failed and failed and failed. So, as I said, I'm not sarcastic. He should be happy. He should see how he can rise again, and he can do it. He documents those failures and he begins to study it, even if he starts with far less capital, by doing the opposite. And now, because let me say something, Raymond, one of the biggest factors of any good investment is risk management. Risk management is one of the most important factors of an investment. So all those things that he didn't manage his risk well that made him to fail, he will now put them in place and he will succeed. Of course, let us even just look at it now. Somebody invested in Bitcoin when it was $120,000 a Bitcoin. What has happened to the Bitcoin has crashed like 50%. You've lost like half of your money. And just a few months, they told you Bitcoin was the best thing that was going to happen to everybody, cryptocurrency. And today, now you've lost half of the money. What are you going to do? It's not only your money, you took your parents' money, you took your friends' money, you took everybody's money, promising them returns. So you now see all the mistakes you made, knowing that, but this thing is cryptocurrency, is subject to high risk, is subject to fluctuation. Why didn't you put a stop loss? But when the thing was coming down, why didn't you look at the economics? Why didn't you look at the fundamentals, the technical of Bitcoin? You just say, here, they are doing Bitcoin, and you jumped into it. You didn't even understand what you were doing. So these are the things we need. I'll encourage that person to become resilient. Thank you. Mr. Joseph, your own question.
Good evening. Thank you so much. It has been impactful all along. God bless you, sir. My question is, I don't know how I'm going to put it straight, but I believe that you will try and get the understanding. How do you advise somebody who is about to take a step, or probably a step of faith? He has prayed, he has got the conviction to go ahead, but everybody around him or people he as such, when you're about to take any step, you okay, I bank on this one, this is my this is going to be my support system, this is going to be my this is going to be my that. Everybody around are now looking at that person and say, this step you are about to take is a good step, but we are not part of it. We believe you are not yet ready to take this decision now. And from your own end, as a person, you've already made your own decision, you've already planned, just for you to sell the idea to them, believing, or you already even believe that they are definitely going to accept it. You'll be talking to you in that light all along. And then you presenting this, your final decision to them, and then they said no. So what will that kind of person do in that situation? Because now fear is coming in, and the thing or what everybody else is saying is it has to be pride. Because if it is not prideful, you won't be doing this kind of a thing and believe that we will support you and believe that they are going to go with you. So it's becoming an emotional thing that the
I
person is now
understand.
in
I
fear.
understand. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Joseph. So let me use an example. let's assume, I'm not saying this is the situation, but let's assume that the decision is that a man wants to marry a lady. I always use marriage because we can relate to it in our everyday lives. And the parents say, no, we don't like this lady. We don't like her tribe. We don't like her family. Your siblings, they don't like this lady also. They don't appreciate her. But you love this lady. You are the man. You love her. You like her. You want to marry her. But everyone, and when you also talk to some of your friends, one or two of your friends say, oh, okay, maybe. Then many of your friends say, no, that lady, something is wrong with her. And we don't think you should marry her. This is a typical example. And that's why I said, use mathematics. Don't forget what I've said. Use mathematics. Use mathematics before you use spirituality in making any decision. Mathematics was created by God. When I mean mathematics, use a formula, use a pattern, use a basis. And this is why I'll carry you through again, is that what is the facts about this lady? You must get all your facts. Using this situation, for instance, her age, herself, her family, her education, her genotype, personality, her health. Get all the information about, because if you want to marry a lady, you don't even know about her. You are joking. You just, oh, we met like in the developed countries. You meet a lady overnight and you are married on Monday. You meet on Friday evening. You people are married on Monday. Then you call your parents. It's what happens a lot in the Western world. But that's why it fails, because you don't even know what you're doing. So after you get those facts, begin to understand them. Let's take one part of understanding that is already clear. Imagine the man has the AS genotype and the woman has AS genotype. The probability of a sickle cell child is 25%. So that already makes that decision a difficult decision. Imagine the man is a Christian and the woman is a Muslim or does not have a religion. I'm not saying that it doesn't work, but again, that provides a potential form of challenges in the relationship. Imagine that the woman does not want to live overseas and all your heart you want to migrate. In fact, you're already working on your migration to Canada, to UK. And the woman says, as far as she's concerned, her parents are here, she can never leave. That is a form of misunderstanding. Then, all these people that have a problem with you marrying her, it cannot be their sentiments. They need to give you facts, understanding of why they're against her or why they don't think it's a good idea. It cannot just be a feeling, we don't just like her. That is not empirical. It's not empirical. You have to tell us what is it. Oh, she's not cautious. She's not courteous. She's not polite. She's very rude. But if you just say, oh, we don't like her tribe. She's, let's use Nigerian tribe. He's Igbo and I'm Yoruba. And Igbo people, they like money. So we don't like to marry people. But that is not empirical, because not every Igbo person likes money. Just like not every Yoruba man is afraid, or not every Hausa person is fanatical. So you make generalizations on any tribe or any person. So you have to ask these people who are not supportive. It cannot be by their emotions. Many times the emotions are also fooling them. It has to be by concrete reasons. Because God gave us a brain to think. We over spiritualize things. Sometimes somebody will tell you, oh, I saw one prophet, and that prophet says you should not marry this person. And it's all nonsense. I'm not saying that prophecies don't exist. They do, and they are real. But many times people manipulate these things for their own ulterior motive in the name of prophecy. So God gave us mathematics, because mathematics is clear. The calculation will add up. Because the math you calculate, the math I calculate, the math anybody calculates is the same. But the prophets you have, the one I have, another person have, they are all different prophecies, and to confuse us. But if we use math, we'll come to the same answer. If we use prophecy, everybody will give their own different prophecies. That's why we have to start with maths. We have to start with what is reasonable and what can be calculated. Then insight. I'm using this story of a man and woman. That man will ask himself, this lady that people have concerns about, is it my love that is blind, or are these things true about her? Is she really disrespectful? Is she really selfish? Let me put aside my emotions for her. Let me evaluate her. And let me check. Oh, honey, I'm going for my grandfather's burial. I would like your support because we're going to do a lot of cooking in the burial. We need a lot of support, especially African traditions. Burials are big things. And she says, I'm very busy. The man has died now. He's an old man. He's lived his life. Red flag. Or she says, wow, I'll be there. I'll support you. I know you need help. Green flag. So you also will test. Is this person what they are saying? Is it that I'm blind, or are they saying the right thing? And I shouldn't just allow my emotions to carry me away. Then wisdom. This is where you look for God's discernment. And let me say this for anybody who does not, when they say, oh, have you heard from God? Did God speak to you? Have you seen a prophecy? Let me say this. One of the greatest and easiest way for anybody to know God's will is the inner peace of spirit. The inner peace is the signal God gives you to know his will. So when you want to marry her now, are you at peace or are you troubled? If you are troubled, something is wrong. If you are at peace, not the peace you force on yourself, the peace that you don't have control over, that comes over you. Because scripture says that the peace of God that passeth all understanding will guide your hearts. So God uses peace to guide us. If something is troubling your heart, it's a red flag. Avoid it. But if something says, don't worry, don't panic, everything is well, it's a green flag. So that one is clearer than different multiple prophecies or different things people are saying that you're not sure. So this is how I encourage you to use it. Use this model. Use it objectively and run it through the process. You will get a right answer. But if you use sentiments, fear, oh, I will not get married. I've been trying to marry many people. This is the only one that has agreed for me. Pride, no. Why should they tell me who I should marry? Is it not my decision to choose? Greed, oh, this girl comes from a rich family. By marrying into her family, I'm going to get it. And I stand an advantage of getting a lot. Use any of those negative emotions we spoke about, it will definitely make a wrong decision. So if you remove those negative emotions, follow this model, most likely this person, whatever the case may be, I just use an illustration, will come to the right decision. So those will be my thoughts, Mr. Joseph. So we take the last question. Adebowale, yes, go ahead, Mr. Adebowale. You need to unmute, sir. Mr. Adebowale Oluwayemi, I see your hand up. Or is it a mistake? Okay, I think it's a mistake because I can't hear Mr. Adebowale. Okay, so thank you all. I do hope you found this webinar useful. We'll send you the video and think about it, apply it. Remember, do not put emotions. Remember, remove emotions out of your thoughts. I'm not saying emotions are not good, but negative emotions affect good decisions. Follow the principles of knowledge, understanding, insight, and wisdom. And of course, you need to pray because every good decision ultimately is given by God's mercy and God's grace. So you need to pray. I don't want to over spiritualize it. That's why I'm saying use maths first. After you use maths, use spirituality. Ask God for guidance in prayer. Well, God gave you a brain to use it. So you use it logically, then you go and ask Him in prayer to guide you, and you wait for that peace. And when the peace comes, don't make the decision until you get the peace. If the peace is delayed, hold on that decision. But once the peace arrives, then make the decision. All right. Take care all, and thank you. And I wish you a great weekend and God's blessings. And bye for now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
We
you
are
very
so
much.
glad to hear the lessons.